Day 5 of our trip starts at the Shrine of Guadalupe. Whenever we take the subway, we start here at Salto del Agua. As you can see, we make a few transfers to get to our first destination. When we arrive at the metro station here, there is a short walk to get to La Villa. There are a number of things to see here. This area is referred to as La Villa de Guadalupe. According to legend, in 1531, 10 years after Cortes defeated the Aztecs, the Virgin appeared to Juan Diego on December 9th as he walked over the hill of Tepeyac. She wanted a church built here in her honor. The bishop at the time, Bishop Zumárraga, didn't believe his story. December 12th, she again appeared to him and told him to pick roses that sprung up from the ground and take to the bishop as proof of her visit. When he unraveled his sarape, an image of the Virgin was inside. The bishop was convinced and a shrine was built here. In 1754, this was recognized by the Pope as a miracle. The Virgin of Guadalupe was Indian and became the symbol of revolution against Spain in 1810. Miguel Hidalgo carried a banner with an image of the Virgin on it. Here was where the Mexican-American War, from 1846 to 48, came to an end with the signing of the Treaty of Guadalupe-Hidalgo. Under terms of the treaty, the U.S. got California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. President John F. Kennedy and French President Charles de Gaulle both took time during their state visits here to worship here. The Virgin of Guadalupe was named patron saint of Mexico City and is also patron saint of the Americas and of the Philippines. There is a big celebration here every December 12th, the anniversary of the Virgin's second appearance. The old basilica was begun in 1695 and finished in 1709, replacing a 16th century earlier church. In 1921, a bomb planted in a flower vase near the altar by an anti-clerical terrorist exploded, causing great damage to the interior of the building. By 1970, it had sunk several feet and was declared hazardous to use. Juan Diego's cloak was housed in this church from 1709 to 1974. It was closed for many years and repairs have recently finished. It is now open again to the public. The modern basilica was built from 1974 to 1976, designed by Pedro Ramirez Vázquez, the same architect of the Museum of Anthropology. Here's another good opportunity for a picture. The new basilica is made of concrete and marble with space inside for 10,000 worshippers and for 4 times that when the great doors all around are thrown open to the crowds, as they are pretty much every Sunday. There seems to be a service permanently in progress here. The famous cloak, framed in gold and silver, hangs above the main altar. To prevent anyone lingering too long on the spot right underneath, one uses a traveling walkway behind the altar. The building is supported by hydraulic shock absorbers to keep the building level and to prevent sinking and prevent damage from earthquakes. After visiting the new and old basilica, we'll go up the hill of Tepeyac via this staircase. There is an 18th century chapel on the hill of Tepeyac called the Capilla del Cerrito, the Chapel of the Little Hill, built on the spot where the Virgin first appeared to Juan Diego and where the roses miraculously sprung up. Frescoes depicting the story of Juan Diego are inside. The Capilla del Pocito, the Chapel of the Little Well, was built from 1777 to 1791 around a well whose water are said to have curative powers. In 1815, Jose Maria Morelos was permitted to pray in this chapel as his last request before being executed. The picture at the top shows the views from the hill. The 2 angel statues are near the top, as well as the concrete sails of a ship. The statue in the middle is of Pope John Paul II, who visited the shrine. The area has interesting landscaping with falling water, a cactus garden, statues of the Virgin, Indians, Juan Diego, Bishop Zumarraga and Juan Bernardino, Juan Diego's uncle. Here you see, interestingly enough, water coming out of the mouth of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god. Being here is a refreshing break from the city. In the background you can see two statues. The statues are Juan Diego opening his sarape to the bishop and finding the image inside. Here you see the Virgin with dark skin, which made her more acceptable to the Aztecs. A book next to this statue reads, Juan Bernardino, Juan Diego's uncle, from his sickbed appearing in the distance at the hill of Tepeyac and in his humble house, he receives a visit by Mary in her 5th appearance. The Virgin performs her first miracle, curing him of the illness he was suffering from. She reveals to him the name she wants to be called, the always holy Virgin Mary of Guadalupe. Juan Diego and Juan Bernardino are symbols of our people, sincere, believing, generous. Having visited the shrine, our next stop is the Square of Three Cultures in Tlatelolco. We get back to the metro station at the Villa. We head to our next station at Tlatelolco. When we arrive at the metro station, we have a 15-minute walk to get to our next destination, the Square of Three Cultures. Before the Spanish came, Tlatelolco was an ancient and noble village located on the northern edge of Lake Texcoco. The richest market of Mesoamerica was located here, independent of the Aztecs in Tenochtitlan. It is today a suburb of housing projects. This square, as it is now, was designed in 1964. It is called the Square of Three Cultures because you see the old Spanish church, the temples of the native population, and both are surrounded by buildings from modern Mexico, three cultures. Aztec temples here show how temples were constantly rebuilt in layers. Tlatelolco was the last bastion where Aztecs defended their sovereignty. In May of 1521, Cuauhtemoc and his army withdrew to here when Cortés marched for the second time on Tenochtitlan. Cuauhtemoc was captured after a more than 3-month surge. On August 13, 1521, the sign here says, the 13th of August of 1521, heroically defended by Cuauhtemoc, Tlatelolco fell under the power of Hernán Cortés. It was not a triumph nor a defeat. It was the painful birth of the mixed race that is the Mexico of today. 54 people were found buried here, considered to be victims of the war of 1473 between Tenochtitlan and Tlatelolco. One pair, a 55-year-old male and a 35-year-old female, were found seemingly embracing, so therefore they were called Los Amantes de Tlatelolco, the lovers of Tlatelolco. The 1968 Olympics was the first time a developing country was chosen for it. University students began protesting the millions invested in the Olympics. They were marching for university reforms, etc., feeling that there was no true democracy in Mexican government. Many middle-class sympathizers joined the movement. This was considered a threat to the government. President Gustavo Díaz Ordaz refused to allow the protests and warned them, saying he would do whatever necessary. The army took over the university. On October 2nd, 1 week before the Olympics opened, thousands gathered here for a peaceful rally at the Square of Three Cultures. The army showed up and shooting began. It is unclear who started it. Several hundred marchers were killed, hundreds more wounded, thousands arrested. On the next day, it was obvious that fear had triumphed, as there were no more demonstrations. 1968 had been the biggest challenge to Mexico's political system since its creation. The Olympics opened a week later without problem. This is a monument to those who died here. This is the Church of Santiago Tlatelolco. The original building was built in 1527, later torn down and rebuilt from 1604 to 1610, pretty much as it is today, built from volcanic stone, same as the Aztec ruins here. It is Baroque style. The remodeled building adjoining the church on the right formerly housed the School of the Holy Cross, founded in 16th century for Indian children of Aztec nobles. Notice how high the window is to protect those inside from attack, which was always still possible in those days. The interior is nowhere near as ornate as the cathedral at the Zocalo. The altar contains a 16th century relief depicting the saint treading on the Indians. Above the door is a mural painting of St. Christopher. We take the 15-minute walk back to the metro station at Tlatelolco and head back to the Salto del Agua station. It's time for lunch. We'll likely eat at Sanborn's or at the hotel. To finish off our last day, I thought it would be a good time to try haggling at some local markets. We'll start at the Citadel Market, La Ciudadela. So after lunch, we'll leave our hotel and head for the first of the 2 nearby markets to try out our haggling skills. The Ciudadela Market is a traditional style Mexican market which specializes in the sale of Mexican handcrafts and folk art, located in the southwest corner of the historic center of Mexico City. It is home to over 350 vendors, mostly small operators selling to Mexican and foreign tourists. The market was established in 1965 as part of preparations for the 1968 Summer Olympics, when the government of Mexico convened artisans from all over the country to bring their handcrafts to the city to demonstrate them for the event. And for the 1970 FIFA World Cup, the same site was used to promote souvenir sales. The success of both of these ventures led to the construction of a permanent market. Here you see examples of jewelry you could buy here. After the Ciudadela Market, we head back towards our hotel and stop at one more market. The San Juan Market is this entire building. You reach the top floor by going up 2 steps every so often as you go around and around through the different stalls. After haggling here, we'll be tired and ready to return to the hotel. Dinner tonight for the last time since we are heading back to the airport tomorrow. And so ends day 5 of our trip.